Some women carry wounds so deep you can't see them, but you will feel them. They look beautiful on the outside, they smile, they laugh, they touch your heart. But deep down, there's an emptiness inside them, a hole they've been trying to fill with attention, money, validation, and sometimes you. And if you're not careful, you'll spend months, even years, pouring your love, your time, your soul into someone who is incapable of giving it back. Not because they don't want to, but because they're bleeding from places you can't heal. Young man, I need you to understand something. Not every woman who wants you deserves you. And not every woman who can't love you is bad, but she might be broken. And a broken person who refuses to heal will break you too. Today, I'm going to give you 7 ways to identify women with these deep emotional holes so that you can protect yourself, choose wisely, and build with someone who is whole. Because love should build you, not drain you. You can tell a lot about a woman by how she handles silence. There are some women who will always have someone on the phone, someone in their DMs, or someone taking them out. Not because they're naturally social, but because they cannot sit with themselves. They jump from man to man, friend to friend, event to event, because stillness forces them to confront something they're avoiding, their pain. And that pain is a void, an emotional hole they've been carrying for years. When you meet a woman like this, you might mistake her constant activity for confidence. You might think, wow, she's popular, she's in demand, she's always busy. But look closer. She's not choosing to be busy, she's running. Running from her thoughts, from her past, from the emptiness she feels when no one is giving her attention. And here's the danger for you, young man, if you become her distraction. She will love you intensely at first. She will text you all day, want to see you all the time, and make you feel like you're her world. But the moment you can't entertain her, or the moment life forces you to focus on yourself, she will start looking for that attention elsewhere. Not because she's evil, not because she's deliberately trying to hurt you, but because she cannot feed herself emotionally without someone else in the room. A woman who can't be alone will demand more of you than you can possibly give. She'll expect you to fill every quiet moment, every lonely night, every gap in her self-esteem. And if you fail, she'll see it as rejection. That's why it's important to watch for this early on. Ask yourself, does she always need to be texting someone? Is she comfortable spending a weekend without plans? Does she talk about past relationships like she's never had a real break between them? The healthiest women know how to be alone because they've learned to enjoy their own company. They've built a life that isn't dependent on another person's constant presence. And those are the women who will add to your life, not drain it. A woman's confidence should be built from within. But for some women, it's built entirely on what the world tells them. Her day is made or broken by the number of likes on her Instagram post, the compliments she gets about her outfit, or the attention she receives when she walks into a room. At first, this might seem harmless. After all, we all enjoy a little validation. But with her, it's not just enjoyment, it's survival. She needs the constant reminder that she's beautiful, worthy, and wanted. Because without it, she feels invisible. And when a woman's self-worth depends on the approval of others, she will do whatever it takes to keep that approval coming, even if it means changing herself to fit their expectations. You'll notice it in subtle ways. She asks you repeatedly if you still find her attractive. She overreacts to small criticisms, even if they're meant with love. She compares herself constantly to other women, needing reassurance that she measures up. But here's the challenge. When a woman's self-esteem is outsourced to strangers, you will never be able to give her enough. Your words will help for a moment, but then she'll need them again, and again, and again. It becomes a bottomless cup you're trying to fill. And worse, the day someone else gives her more praise, more attention, or makes her feel more admired than you do, she may start to gravitate toward them. Not because she's loyal to that person, but because she's loyal to the feeling of being adored. A woman grounded in self-worth doesn't crumble when the world is silent. She doesn't panic when she goes unnoticed for a while. She knows her value without having to constantly prove it or hear it echoed back. Young man, pay attention to this early on. Does her mood swing with the opinions of others? Does she light up only when someone compliments her, but sink when no one notices her? Does she rely on social media validation like oxygen? Because if her sense of self is controlled by the outside world, your relationship will always feel unstable. Not because of you, but because she hasn't learned to approve of herself first. Some women fall in love fast, too fast. The moment you meet, it's fireworks. She's calling you babe in the first week, talking about a future together in the second, and introducing you to her friends before you've even learned her middle name. It feels intoxicating at first. You start to think, wow, this must be real. This must be fate. But slow down, because often what you're seeing isn't deep love. It's a rush, an addiction to the feeling of newness. For women like this, relationships are like roller coasters, thrilling in the beginning, but the moment the ride slows down, they get bored. They're not in love with you as a person. They're in love with the excitement you bring when everything is fresh. And the moment that excitement fades, they'll look for it somewhere else. Pay attention to her relationship history. Does she always have a story of intense love that just didn't work out after a few months? Does she blame the other person for being too clingy or not exciting anymore? Does she seem to fall for people quickly, but never stay long enough to build something real? This is not about judging her. It's about recognizing the pattern. People who constantly chase the high of new love are often trying to fill a deeper emptiness. That emptiness is the big hole we're talking about, the emotional void that makes them believe the next new person will finally make them feel whole. Here's the danger. You might think you're the exception. You might believe you're different enough, exciting enough, or special enough to keep her attention forever. But if she hasn't learned to sustain love beyond the honeymoon phase, the relationship will eventually slow down. And when it does, she may start looking for her next high. Real love is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It grows deeper over time, and it requires patience, effort, and stability. If she has never shown she can do that, you're likely not building a future. You're just another chapter in her short, intense love stories. One of the clearest signs of emotional emptiness is this. She never owns her part in a problem. Every breakup she's had, it was the man's fault. Every friendship that ended, they were jealous or toxic. Every argument, you misunderstood her. At first, you might be sympathetic. You might think, wow, she's been through so much. People have really hurt her. But the more you listen, the more you notice there's a pattern. Somehow she's always the victim, never the cause. A woman who avoids accountability is telling you something without saying it. She's not ready to grow. Because growth starts with looking in the mirror and asking, what could I have done differently? If she can't do that, her emotional wounds remain unhealed. And an unhealed person will continue to repeat the same mistakes, dragging new people into the same cycles. In relationships, this becomes dangerous. If she refuses to own her mistakes, every disagreement will turn into a battle where you're the villain. She won't apologize sincerely. She'll justify her actions, and she'll twist the story to protect her ego. Over time, you'll find yourself apologizing for things you didn't even do, just to keep the peace. And here's the truth. A relationship without accountability is like trying to build a house on sand. No matter how much you invest, it will collapse. Pay attention early on. When she talks about her past, does she ever acknowledge what she could have done better? When you bring up something she did that hurt you, does she listen? Or does she instantly defend herself? Does she ever say the words, "You're right, I was wrong," without following it with a but? A healthy woman doesn't fear accountability. She embraces it. She knows that admitting a mistake doesn't make her weak. It makes her trustworthy. She understands that owning her role in problems allows her to grow and love better. Young man, don't ignore this. A woman who avoids responsibility for her actions isn't just protecting her pride. She's protecting her wounds. And if she refuses to heal them, she will eventually make them your wounds too. Some people confuse chaos with passion. They believe if there aren't constant highs and lows, it isn't real love. And for some women with deep emotional voids, drama becomes their way of feeling connected. It starts small. She picks fights over little things, overanalyzes harmless comments, or tests you just to see how you'll react. You think, maybe she's just having a bad day. But soon you realize there's a pattern. Peace makes her uneasy. If things are calm for too long, she stirs the pot. Why? Because in her mind, intense emotions, even anger, jealousy, or fear, feel like proof that you care. If you're raising your voice, chasing after her, or trying to win her back after she storms off, she feels wanted. And for someone with an emotional hole, any strong feeling feels better than emptiness. The danger is that you get pulled into her cycle. At first, you fight back. Then you start avoiding conflict just to keep things smooth. Eventually, you lose your peace, constantly walking on eggshells, trying to prevent the next blow up. Drama as a connection tool is toxic because it replaces healthy communication with emotional manipulation. Instead of saying, "I feel insecure about this," she'll pick a fight. Instead of expressing her needs, she'll create a situation where you have to prove your love. Pay attention to the signs. Does she get restless when things are going well? Does she seem more interested in intense arguments than calm problem solving? Does she provoke you just to get a reaction? A healthy woman doesn't need chaos to feel connected. She understands that love can be steady and still exciting. She values open conversations over emotional games. She doesn't test your love by trying to break it, only to see if you'll fix it. Young man, here's the truth: peace in a relationship is not boring. It's a blessing. Don't let anyone convince you that love must hurt to be real. Because if she's addicted to drama, no matter how much you love her, you'll always be living in a storm. And storms don't build homes. They tear them down. Some women care more about how a relationship looks than how it actually feels. She wants the Instagram perfect moments, the matching outfits, the vacations that look expensive, and the public compliments. But when the cameras are off, there's little substance between you. It's not that wanting nice things or sharing beautiful memories is wrong, far from it. But when her main focus is on appearances rather than connection, the relationship becomes a performance instead of a partnership. You'll notice it early. She's more concerned about what her friends think of you than how you treat her. She chooses dates based on how Instagrammable they are, not whether they'll create meaningful connection. She might even pressure you into spending beyond your means, because the image she projects to the world matters more to her than your financial well-being. Here's the truth. A woman who prioritizes image over depth is often trying to hide her emotional emptiness. If the outside looks perfect, she believes no one will notice the cracks inside. But over time, this can leave you feeling unseen and unappreciated because your role becomes less about being her partner and more about being her prop. The danger for you is that you'll keep giving more money, more time, more effort to maintain the image while the emotional connection quietly dies. And when the image is threatened, she may turn cold or distant because without the show, she doesn't feel secure. Pay attention to the signs. Is she more excited about posting your moments than actually living them? Does she value how things look over how they are? Does she measure the relationship's success by status, gifts, or public approval instead of emotional closeness? A healthy woman can appreciate the beauty of life without making it a mask. She'll care about your private happiness more than your public image. She won't need the world to validate what you two share, because the love will be real, not just well packaged. Young man, remember, a relationship built on image is like a house built on a stage set. It may look perfect from the audience, but behind the curtains, it can be empty. Choose a woman who values depth, because depth lasts long after the spotlight fades.